Module 13, the digestive system. Nutrition. Because this module highlights the digestive system, it's a good idea to discuss the topic of nutrition here. After all, now that you know how your body digests the food you eat, it's important to look at the kinds of food you can take in and how they benefit your body. Nutrients can be divided into two types of groups. Macronutrients are the nutrients the body needs in large amounts, such as carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Micronutrients are the nutrients the body needs in smaller amounts, such as vitamins and minerals. Macro means large, so your body needs lots of macronutrients. Macronutrients are used by the body for energy and building materials. That's why you need a lot of them. And micro means small, so your body doesn't need as many of those. Micronutrients are chemicals that support lots of chemical processes in the body. So, though you don't need to take in as many micronutrients, they still are very important to include in your diet. Carbohydrates are one type of macronutrient. Like their name suggests, they are made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. If you remember that the chemical formula for water is H2O, carbohydrates are really just watered up carbon atoms, or hydrated carbon. Thus the name carbohydrate. Get it? Well, these molecules are used as energy sources for the body, along with other important jobs. Simple sugars are the smallest carbohydrates. They are more technically called monosaccharides, and they include glucose, fructose, and galactose. Remember, the liver will convert all of these monosaccharides into glucose. Thus, the sugars in blood are pretty much all glucose. That's a good thing because the cells of the body use glucose as their fuel. Other common carbohydrates in the body include parts of glycolipids and glycoproteins, which is when a carbohydrate combines with a lipid or protein molecule, respectively. These molecules behave as markers on cells, so the immune system can identify which cells are you and which cells are not. When a polysaccharide is very large, it's called a complex carbohydrate. Some of these can be broken down by amylase, but some cannot. An example of a complex carbohydrate that cannot be digested by the amylase is a plant carbohydrate called cellulose, such as some of the carbohydrates in a stalk of celery. But these types of non-digestible carbohydrates, often called fiber, are good for the intestines. Fiber stimulates the intestines as it moves through them by stretching them out a bit. That causes a reflex in the intestinal walls so they contract. Thus, the material inside the intestines will move along at a more regular pace. Lipids are another type of macronutrient. They are oil-soluble molecules and are mostly made up of carbon and hydrogen, with some oxygen molecules too. Triglycerides are the most common type of lipids in the body. They're made up of 3 fatty acid chains, thus the prefix tri, along with a 3-carbon molecule called glycerol. Triglycerides are important because they can efficiently store fuel in the mitochondria of the cells. Cholesterol is another lipid that's found in every cell of the body. One of its uses is as a precursor to very important hormones of the body. It's used to form the sex hormones estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, and also to make some of the adrenal hormones such as aldosterone. Cholesterol is also part of the plasma membrane of all the body's cells. It's a very important molecule to the body. Now, you can take in too much fat in your diet, causing cholesterol to build up in the blood vessels, but you need to realize that cholesterol isn't bad in itself. Too much cholesterol is. When you studied the structure of cells in Module 1, you learned that phospholipids make up the cell's plasma membrane. Though they are not triglycerides, they do have 2 fatty acid molecules, the third one being replaced by a phosphate group. Thus, phospholipids have unique abilities. The 2 oil-soluble tails make one side of the molecule hydrophobic, and the phosphate group makes the other side of the molecule hydrophilic, or water-soluble. There are some fatty acids that are absolutely necessary for the body. They are called essential fatty acids, and they can only make it to the body by eating the right types of fat. One essential fatty acid is linoleic acid, or omega-6 essential fatty acid. Linoleic acid is found in salad oils. The other essential fatty acid is alpha-linolenic acid, or omega-3 essential fatty acid. It's also found in plant oils. You can add it to your diet by eating soy, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, and flax seeds. Fish oils also have omega-3 fatty acids called docosahexaenoic acid, or DHA, and eicosapentaenoic acid, or EPA. These fish oils are the omega-3 oils your body needs, but they aren't called essential fatty acids because as long as you include alpha-linolenic acid in your diet, along with a good supply of vitamins and minerals, your body will produce DHA and EPA. So why are these essential fatty acids essential? Well, they can be used to make prostaglandins. Some prostaglandins are good and others are bad. Alpha-linolenic acid is not very common in the American diet, but it is the precursor of the good prostaglandins and also helps to keep the bad prostaglandins from being made. Good prostaglandins help reduce inflammation and stop excess blood clotting. Essential fatty acids also are important because they help the cell's plasma membranes to remain perfectly flexible and help to bring oxygen through the membrane for the cell to use. The last group of macronutrients are proteins. They're made up of long chains of amino acids. You already know that proteins are too large for the digestive tract to absorb proteins, so they have to be digested into their building blocks, amino acids. The body needs amino acids primarily for making its own proteins. Now, cells can remove the amino group from these molecules and then use the remaining part for energy, but protein production is the major thing that cells do with amino acids. Cells use proteins for lots of things. In fact, DNA codes for the proper arrangement of the amino acids for perfect protein production. Amino acids then are taken into the body by eating protein-rich food. The human body has 20 amino acids in all of its proteins. Based on the quantity and placement of these amino acids, all the necessary structures and molecules of the body can be made. But your body can only make 11 of these amino acids on its own. The other 9 have to be eaten. Thus, they are called essential amino acids. It is essential that you get them in your diet. If a protein contains all of these 9 essential amino acids, it's called a complete protein. The most common complete proteins are dairy products such as cheese and milk, as well as eggs, fish, and meat. Thus, the easiest way to get all the essential amino acids your body needs is to eat animal proteins. If a person doesn't consume animal proteins, such as a person who is a vegetarian, will they be able to take in all the amino acids they need? Yes, but it requires more careful planning so they choose the proper foods to receive all the essential ones. A plant-based diet usually involves combining grains and beans. Now, neither grains nor beans have complete proteins, but if both foods are combined, then all of the essential amino acids are there. So beans and rice can be one good food combination which provides all the required essential amino acids in a person's diet.